Now, while I was scripting for the Assam episode, and Assam was like,
দেৰি লাগিব ইয়াৰ পৰা মানুহ হেৰি কৰি আছে বহুত টাইম
and it's very common here, like every year this happens. Not a positive thing to start with, but it's a sad reality and we have to talk about this. But apart from all these, Assam is a colorful, vibrant state with a variety of tradition, cultures, and is also the gateway to the northeast. Welcome to the land of rhinos and tea. But first, let's find out on map where you have to go to have this tea. By the way, you can get this tea everywhere. But Assam is the 17th largest state of India, situated here in the northeastern part of India, south of Arunachal, bordering other 5 of the 7 states from south and east, and West Bengal in the west. Apart from this, Bhutan borders from the north and Bangladesh in these 2 parts. The state is divided into 33 administrative districts as of 2020, administered by its district headquarters. Apart from this, the state also has these 3 autonomous councils. Of these, you might have heard about the Boro people or the Boro land. Yes, the native refer themselves as Boro and not Bodo. Initially, the Boro community ruled over the west of Assam, especially in the north of Brahmaputra. And then in 70s, they started demanding for independence. Many groups were formed, most were the peaceful, but few became violent like these. Even the Royal Bhutan Army had to step in 2003 alongside the Indian Army. And then BTR was established. And then finally on the final peace treaty was established between the government and all the parties. The capital of Assam is Dispur, located in Guwahati suburb, and it makes sense that Guwahati is the largest city with population of 1.1 million, followed by Silchar with 2.7 lakhs and Dibrugarh with 1.8 lakhs. The largest as well as the only international airport of the state is the Guwahati Airport, and other domestic ones include Silchar Airport in Silchar, Mohanbadi Airport in Dibrugarh. And yes, people of Bangalore, stop worrying, you are not the only one with the problem. I mean, yes, your city is like 35 kilometers away from airport, but just have a look on Assam. Guwahati Airport 25 kilometers, Dibrugarh Airport 15 kilometers, Silchar 29. Yes, it's not that far, but still it's very much outside the city limits. So now all the northeastern states are connected to rest of India by this 22-kilometer narrow Siliguri corridor or the Chicken's Neck, and complete land traffic converges to this bottleneck. The rail traffic in Assam is not as busy as the rest of India, but considering its location, it's still impressive. Also, Assam is the entry point to the northeast, so to move to any of the northeastern states, you have to pass through Assam, and same is the case with the roadways. Though most of the people coming from other parts of India to Assam prefer air travel or road travel as compared to the railways. The river Brahmaputra divides the state into 2 parts. The river is so massive that there are just few points that connect north to the south, including Bhupen Hazarika Setu, the longest, and the Bogibeel Bridge, 5th longest bridge in India. And talking about the mighty Brahmaputra, the river does affect the lifestyle in good and the bad ways, about which we will discuss now in the geography segment. Now, geography does affect the overall progress of the region, but for Assam, sometimes its geography becomes the only factor that controls the state. The state is located near the convergence of Indo-Eurasian plate south of legendary Himalayas, which means the state does experience few mild earthquakes. The state is divided into 3 parts. The Brahmaputra plain in north, running from Bengal in west and extending up to the Arunachal in the east. It is where most of the oil and agricultural stuff happens. Yes, oil in Assam, but we'll discuss that later. Second is the Central Plateau region, split into 2 parts, the extension of Shillong Plateau and the Karbi Plateau. This is actually the oldest landform in Assam and even Meghalaya. Why? Because these are the parts of the Indian Peninsular Plateau. And how does this happen? In simple terms, Indian Plateau moving towards Eurasian Plateau, Indian Plateau divided near the Rajmahal Hills in Jharkhand, forming the Karbi Shillong Plateau that moves towards its current location. This means that entire Bengal plain wasn't even there until the Ganga Brahmaputra basin brought the sediments and then formed the flourishing plains. By the way, this is not West Bengal episode, for which we have to wait like tens of years, so let's just come back to Assam. And the third region is this southern plains, which does have few low rolling hills running in parallel. The highest point in Assam is this unnamed peak, so close to the border with Nagaland. I don't know why they didn't name it yet. Like, it was so difficult to locate this manually from thousands of peaks in Assam, but I did it. And like Arunachal, I was not able to find the largest lake in Assam. So if you know one, do mention in the comment box. Arunachal and Assam, they're just like siblings. Now there is one feature that shapes Assam is the Brahmaputra, 9th largest river in the world in terms of volume. And as we discussed in the Arunachal episode, check my Arunachal video, all the major rivers end up merging in Brahmaputra, and usually these create a mess. The problem is that Brahmaputra is one of the most unstable river in the world. Like, it can even change its direction. So much so that it has even resulted in formation of Majuli, the largest river island in the world. Now you can guess how unstable it is. Also, Brahmaputra is one of the widest river in the world, reaching width up to 26 kilometers. And this means its floodplains is also very large as compared to its actual flow. So sometimes people just come and then settle in these floodplains unknowingly. Quick note, a floodplain is low level areas near the rivers that usually flood in peak season. Now during summer, the glacier melts and then very soon monsoon arrives. And this results in catastrophic floods in Assam. Lakhs of people are affected every year. Hundreds of casualties, villages drown, connectivity disrupts, economy falls, 90% of Kaziranga drowns underwater, wild animals enter into the village, and then scenes like this becomes very common. And you know what make it even worse? The attention. Today more people know that IPL is starting in September than about the Brahmaputra flood. The mainstream media wants people to know about what Taimur ate in lunch rather than focusing on why rhinos are entering into the villages. Basically just overhyping the unnecessary things, not entering into any political drama, but sometimes Assam is treated like a middle child where sometimes parents forget that they also exist, but they should know that their existence completes the family. In Assam you can spot birds like Geraldon's babbler, Asian king vulture, this hornbill, and animals like pygmy hog, hulok gibbon, water buffalo, Bengal tiger, Asian elephant. Though the state animal is great one-horned rhino and the state bird is white-winged wood duck. Also, the state flower is Kopau Phool or the foxtail orchid. Remember Arunachal Pradesh? And Holong is the state tree, also same as the Arunachal. See, sibling things. I told you they are siblings. Now, Assam is synonymous to Kaziranga and rhinos. Let's talk about that. Kaziranga is home to some 2,500 of Indian rhinos and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Once, rhinos ruled over the complete Indus-Ganga-Brahmaputra plain from Pakistan to Myanmar. But due to their excessive poaching, only 3,500 of them exist today and 80% of them are confined to Assam. Quick note, their distant cousins, northern white rhinoceros of Africa, is about to extinct with just 2 female rhinoceros alive today. Check out my video on rhinos for more info. Meanwhile, we are moving towards the next segment, demographics. The population of Indian Assamese is somewhat near to 35 million, of which 62% identify themselves as Hindus, 34% are Muslims, 4% are Christians, and the rest belong to other religious and non-religious groups like Sikhs, Buddhists, and Jains. Islam is also the fastest growing religion in Assam. Ethno-linguistic wise, 47% are native Assamese peoples, 28% are Bengali, mostly near both of the Bengal border, 5% are Hindi speaker, and 3% belong to Boro group that once demanded for 50% of Assam for the Boro land. And then there are so many minor groups and I'm too lazy to pronounce them. Now what does the term Assamese means? The Assamese in general refers to people belonging to any of these groups, the Austroasiatic, the Tibeto-Burman, Indo-Aryan and Thai group that lived in these regions since generation and spoke Assamese or any one of its dialect. Not everyone in Assam is Assamese, but it's just 47% of them. Assamese or Assamia is the official language of the state, which sounds somewhat similar to Bengali, but do not call them as Bengali. Their state song is this. They have so many folk dances like these, Bihu being the most famous one. Also, Bihu is a popular festival. In fact, it's a set of 3 festivals. All these are related to agriculture, and Rongali Bihu also marks as the beginning of the Assamese New Year. Now the controversial part. Today there are some 2 million to 5 million illegal Bangladeshis in Assam. The Bangladeshis illegally started crossing borders after the Bangladesh genocide in 70s, and moving from Bangladesh to India is very cheap with fake identities. And very soon this number reached millions. The locals started fearing of losing their identities. In 1978, 45,000 illegal Bangladeshis were on the electoral roll, which then led to Assamese movement by this group. And then on 15th August 1985, Assam Accord was signed, which focused on protection of Assamese culture. And very recently another bill was passed which reduced the time period of obtaining Indian citizenship from 11 years to just 5 years. Now I'm not going to explain all this CA things, but it just granted an easy access for those illegal migrants to easily become an Indian citizen, and then again locals are afraid of becoming minorities in their own state. Keeping all these controversies aside, Assam is home to a huge variety of tribal culture. Apart from Boro people, there is a Dimasa tribe. They are not Assamese, living mainly in Dima Hasao district and few in Nagaland also. Speaking Grau Dima language, soon you'll know why I stress that word Grau. Their traditional costume is this. Sonowal Kachari people, living in upper and central parts of Assam. Their current CM is from this community. Garo tribe, not Galo which we discussed in Arunachal, and not Grau Dima which we discussed few seconds back. Mainly inhabiting hilly areas near Meghalaya border. They speak Garo language and call themselves as the hill people. Missing tribe. Their language is also missing, but they are not missing. They are here in Assam. Seriously, I swear. Didn't like the joke? Sorry. This is the tribe where most common form of marriage is by elopement. They just sit together, have an apong, and then congratulations. By the way, remember apong from Arunachal episode? It's an important part of Assamese culture also. Seriously, Assam and Arunachal, two best siblings. Economy of Assam is mostly based on agriculture, employing 70% of the total population. Assam has significant contribution in production of rice, sugar cane, jute, areca nuts, potato, pineapple, ginger, and the most famous one being the Assamese tea. Assam makes up about 50% of India's tea production. Assamese tea is known for its intense color, flavor and smell. Workers, especially women, carefully picks up the best quality leaves, which then after a lot of process comes out as what we know as the Assamese tea. So yes, hard work is the key. If you still didn't try this, you are not a tea lover. Accept this. By the way, this is empty. Assam also has the largest oil field in India and supplies nearly 25% of India's petroleum need. Assam has 4 oil refineries with total capacity of 7 million metric tons per year. One of them, Digboi Oil Refinery, is the Asia's first and the world's second oil refinery. Apart from this, recently there is also boom in other sectors like IT and electronics, pharmaceuticals, chemicals, food processing and horticulture. While the rural population focus mostly on its craft works like bamboo work, silk and cotton work, wood crafting and jewelry work, pottery, mask and all. Tribes, crafts, tea and oil. What's missing is food and travel, which we'll cover now in the last segment of our video. Now the cuisine of Assam is mostly similar to other parts of India. They have their own variant of East Indian dishes like pitta, dahi chuda or fishes cooked in banana leaves. Rice is of course the staple like other East and Northeast Indian states. Then there is a huge variety of meat like chicken, duck, pigeon, goat and even river snails. Yes, they do eat that. Now when you visit an Assamese, your dinner will start with khar, unless you are a vegetarian. Apong, the rice beer, is also an integral part of their culture, like Arunachal. I told you they are siblings. Few dishes that originated in Assam includes khar, masor tinga, an Assamese variant of fish curry, or this pigeon meat curry, though pigeon is banned in many other states. What's this? Bahgajor lagot kurkure, chicken dish cooked in bamboo shoots. These pronunciations. Some of the iconic sites of Assam could be the city of Guwahati with sites like Kamakhya Temple, Umananda Island, the smallest river island in the world. Assam is smallest as well as the largest island. Wow. Assam State Museum, Assam State Zoo cum Botanical Garden. While outside of Guwahati, you can visit places like Majuli Island District, the green, eco-friendly, pollution-free and also the largest river island in the world. Jatinga Valley, where birds mysteriously commit suicide. Yes, by the reason is now discovered. Dibrugarh, also known as the tea capital of the world. Tea tourism has also started becoming popular here. Dihing Patkai, an annual festival in Tinsukia. Haflong, the most popular hill station in Assam. Hajo, a pilgrimage center for Hindus, Muslims and Buddhists. And national parks like Nameri National Park, Manas National Park, Debru Shekhua National Park, and I don't think I have to tell you about this one. And you can mention others in the comment box. In the end, Assam is like a middle child of a family. Everyone knows its importance, but sometimes they just don't value it much, which might create some drama, but in the end, they are a crucial part of an amazing family. Coming up in the next video is my birth state, Bihar. Stay tuned.